Man, I've been talking all this goddamn time and ain't even on the damn chat, dog. What is going on, man? Ain't this about a bitch, man? I've been on this chat for the last man, I've been on this chat for 5 minutes talking my ass off, dog, and didn't press the go button, dog. What's going on, man? Let me start this again. Peak, because I'm gonna go in on this one, dog. I paid my $20 on Trill Boxing Talk to have my statement, my opinion made on this Terence Crawford Errol Spence Jr. thing, man. And I think this shit is being unfair to Errol Spence Jr. I am not a fan of PR and public relations. And I don't. And if two cats want to make the fight, it's on both these dudes to make the fight. If one dude can get out there and call for the fight, the other dude can come out there and get a call for the fight. And I don't care. I am not a fan of people standing behind their managers, man. And I don't mince words. I want to fight you is a call out. I, Fanon, want to fight PK Boxing MMA. Let's fight. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to whoop you. I don't want any other fights. I want you. Sign the contract. I'm having my people call you on Monday. That's a call out. Not, I think, I want all these guys. I want Mikey Garcia. I want Errol Spence. I want Terence. I want Sean Porter. All these dudes. All these dudes. We can make it happen. No, that ain't no call out. But I want to get my 2 cents on this because this particular issue is a tough issue. Because I'm a Terence Crawford fan. And I had much respect to Black Fight Fan TV. I heard a little bit in his voice, dog, where he's like, yeah, I hear you saying you're a Terence Crawford fan, but he almost wanted to say he don't believe it. I am a Terence Crawford fan. I have got many videos up about Terence Crawford in support of Terence Crawford. I got Terence Crawford videos with me saying he's the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. I had him being being a future Hall of Famer, being an excellent fighter, being the fighter of the year in 2017, saying that Top Ranking these guys ain't promoting them. I have never said a negative word about Terence Crawford ever. But I ain't about to sit up here because I have a whole bunch of cats on my channel who come to the channel and me and you argue. You know, some of you cats are big Terence Crawford fans versus Errol Spence Jr. And I like Errol Spence Jr. and I like Terence Crawford. And if it was the other way around, I wouldn't let it happen to Terence Crawford. You cannot put extra, say that one person, it's the responsibility of one person to make a fight happen because they made a misstatement or they said something that people didn't necessarily like in a press conference. When he was in that press conference talking about fighting Sean Porter, he was there to call out Sean Porter. So if somebody asked him about Terence Crawford in a set when he's sitting on a microphone waiting for Sean Porter to come right after he called out Sean Porter, what was he supposed to do? Call out Terence Crawford right after he called out Sean Porter? That's just not fair. And I hear cats trying to Errol Spence ducking him and using this conversations to say that Errol Spence Jr. is ducking Terence Crawford. Man, I think that's a slippery slope when you start accepting arguments like that, man. I'm just not going for it, man. And when Errol Spence Jr., when Terence Crawford gets in the ring and calls out Errol Spence Jr., which I do not believe is going to happen. I do not believe is going to happen on ESPN. I don't believe he's going to do it. But if he does it, then he did it. Then Errol Spence Jr. should say something about it. But until he does it, he didn't do it. So, I mean, I ain't going to be like, oh, well, what am I going to do if he did it? Shit, when he does it, then I'll talk about it. That'd be like, hey, man, well, what you going to do when I pay you this money back? Are you still going to be mad at me when I pay you this money back? Somebody owe you some money and you about to fight them. And they say, hold on, man, why are you trying to fight? What you going to do when I pay you back? Motherfucker, I ain't going to fight you when you pay me back. But you got to pay me back. If, ands, and buts was candy and nuts, dog, I need my money. You know what I'm saying? If ands, and buts were candy and nuts, oh, what a party we have, dog. Eric Jenkins said, nah, Errol wants a path to the BBC belts. Them see Crawford. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not sure with that. You got to finish that word, Mike. He said, "Oh, I might fuck around and get that ESPN Plus app." I got the ESPN Plus app. That's a good buy for me. I ain't gonna lie. I was a little suspect of it to begin with, but ESPN Plus, I got it because they got golf. They got all kind of shit on ESPN Plus, man. I don't even have it for the boxing because the top ranked cards suck. But I'll take it, but I take it because they got so many other things going on. What's going on, Curtis Anderson? Patrick Turner said, how Errol Spence ducking Crawford when Crawford has only been a welterweight for 2 seconds. I hate when people say that. I'm telling you, that's why I am not going to co-sign that. I can't co-sign it. I can't co-sign it. I cannot co-sign it because that's the argument people are making behind it. If you start saying that Errol Spence Jr. needs to call out Errol Spence, he needs to respond to Terence, or Errol Spence needs to respond to Terence Crawford, I say, okay, that's true. When Terence Crawford says something to be responded to. Terence Crawford ain't said shit. He ain't said nothing. There was a Twitter war. I got to go back to the Twitter war. But if you're going to count the Twitter war, them going back and forth on Twitter, then you got to say, okay, Errol Spence already called him out then. If you're going to count that, I got to count Errol Spence saying he'll fight him. Then that's the end of the debate. There ain't no debate. Let's wait for the fight to happen. But some cats are using this to try to tear down Errol Spence Jr. and build up Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford don't need building up. Terence Crawford's done everything that Terence Crawford needs to do to be respected. But I ain't getting off the subject, dog. Sean Porter was the dude that Errol Spence Jr. was there to call out, man. He was at a Sean Porter fight. Get in the ring with Sean Porter. Where's Terence Crawford? Was Terence Crawford at that fight? What's good, Errol? What's going on, Earl Taylor Sr.? Where was Terence Crawford? Terence Crawford wasn't at that fight. They got 2 champions in there. You got the WBC champion was going to be named. You got the IBF champion, both there. Where was the WBO champion? He wasn't even there. But we're going to go off of what Bo Mack said it. Bo Mack said it. Come on, man. That's like saying, what's going on, JR the Super Dog? That's like saying, well, AJ isn't afraid of AJ's not afraid of Deontay Wilder because he's not afraid of Deontay Wilder because Eddie Hearn said he wants to fight. Did you hear what Eddie Hearn said? I mean, what are we all why are we talking about Deontay Wilder that AJ's scared of Deontay Wilder for? Why would we say that? Because you've heard what Eddie Hearn said. Right? Since Eddie Hearn said it, never mind that Anthony Joshua didn't say it, but his promoter said it. And since his promoter said it, I'm gonna take the promoter at the word. I'm gonna take Eddie Hearn at his word. Of course not. So why would I do it for Bo Mack? If Freddie Roach said that Manny Pacquiao really wanted to fight somebody, I'm gonna take Freddie Roach. I mean, Bo Mack is Freddie Roach in this scenario. He's a trainer, man. He's not the actual fighter. You don't get any credit for what your daddy says, man. That's where I'm coming from. When he does it, he did it. When he does it, then he did it. But before he did it, man, it's not right to be having weeks of conversations about what'll happen when he does it. If he didn't do it, and he didn't do it. What's good, man? Napoleon Armstrong, all Bud needs to do is Bud. Bud has to stand there and brawl for Errol to be all he can be. I truly believe that. Errol can box, but Bud boxes better. Yeah, man, I want to see the fight. And when the fight happens, we will see the answer to that. PK Boxing and man. Oh, let me get the other super chat. I missed. Matt Wade, my man, said Matt Wade, Terence Crawford didn't say anything about his money, and he responded. Terence Crawford didn't say anything about his money, and he responded, yeah, man, I think that was no, Bo Mack said something about Terence Crawford, about Errol Spence's money. That's what I'm saying. That is a debate. That is some shit going on between Bo Mack and Errol. Bo Mack got on the channel. Bo Mack was cracking a joke, said something about how Errol Spence Jr. was living check to check. And then Fred from Barbershop Conversation, shout out to Fred from Barbershop Conversation, went and said that to Errol Spence when Errol Spence Jr. is checking into his hotel. And Errol Spence Jr. got irritated about it, like living paycheck to paycheck. Like, And he got irritated about it. And then he said, I guarantee you that I make more money. And that's where all that nonsense, that's a bunch of, whatever. Talk. Errol Spence Jr. ain't living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, damn, that's a hell of a life and a hell of a paycheck. And Bomac, to his credit, was really just fucking around being funny. I mean, it's not like he truly intended to insult him. He was talking about the deal that he got at ESPN and why he signed with ESPN and justifying why Terence Crawford stayed with ESPN. And what he said from his standpoint, looking at it from his standpoint, Bomac's standpoint, looking at it from Terence Crawford's standpoint, both of those, what he said made sense. And he was he said, basically talking about he's getting guaranteed money. But it wasn't Terence Crawford that said that. That was Bomac that said that. And Errol Spence Jr. didn't respond to Terence Crawford. He responded to Fred. When Fred asked him about it, he was like, I guarantee you that, my paychecks are good. He's talking to Fred with a mic in his face, but he's talking to Fred. Anyway, man, all that stuff is a bunch of, that shit is all, to me, is like whatever. All I can go on is what I'm hearing these dudes say. I know that Terence Crawford has a fight with Jose Benavidez, not this weekend, but next weekend. Isn't it the 14th? He's got a fight with him the weekend of the 14th. I think it's Saturday the 14th. That's the fight that he has. The next fight after that, he's going to have a fight more than likely with Egis Kalvanakis. And after that, more than likely, he's going to have a fight with Carlos Adames or somebody like that. And if you listen to what Todd duBoef said, because the person that got called out in this conversation that Bomac had, at least as far as what I could see for the article that was written by Boxing Scene, it was Bomac, the manager, calling out Todd duBoef, the guy that works for the promoter, saying, you guys need to make these fights. Why are we fighting the number 6 guy, the number 7th guy? It sounds to me like Bomac wants to make that fight, and Bomac took that moment to put some pressure on Top Rank to try to make that fight. And I commend Bomac for that. That's what he did. But that is a stretch for that to then make Errol Spence Jr. have to respond to that. Why would Errol Spence Jr. need to respond to somebody else's trainer asking their promoter for the permission to make a fight? That's what happened. That was the literal conversation. Those were the people involved in the conversation. But if Terence Crawford gets into the ring and calls out Errol Spence and says, I want Errol Spence Jr. next. I'm going to push on my team to make the Errol Spence Jr. fight. That's the only fight that I want. Then you say, dang, Errol, he said he wants to make that fight. What do you have to say about it? If Errol Spence Jr. then turns around and says, I don't want to fight Terence Crawford, then you can say, oh, dang, that sounds a little shady on Errol Spence Jr.'s part. And I'll be the first one making a video about it. Damn, that sounded a little shaky. But I don't see why he should have to respond to somebody that didn't call him out. I don't know why he would need to respond to something that was not addressed to him. It wasn't addressed to him, and it wasn't not addressed to him by somebody that he would be fighting. That was literally Bomac talking to Todd duBoef. And what did Todd duBoef say? Crystal ball. He referred to it as looking in a crystal ball. Looking in a crystal ball. Todd duBoef was super non-committal about that, man. He's like, look, man, we're not going to do this. I'm not going to give Errol Spence Jr. any airtime in this call. I'm not going to talk about Errol Spence Jr. And we're not going to get into a crystal ball about it, man. Look, we're not going to be stuck into some formulaic way of making fights. We're going to be open to making fights. He didn't answer the question. So if there's really somebody to talk about, it should be, look, why is Todd duBoef ducking Bomac? Because that's what happened in the conversation, man. But That's me. Hey, look, that's why I say people in the LDBC don't disagree with people, and it's all some, right down the middle of the road stuff. I'm telling you, man, I have people, and the reason why I do it, pay both guys, no doubt about it. The reason that I go out of my way to say this is because there's a lot of people that will come to my channel, start talking about how Errol Spence Jr. is ducking Terence Crawford. So don't come to my channel saying that. You know what I mean? Don't come to my channel saying Errol Spence Jr. ducked Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford called out Errol Spence Jr. Before the Jose Benavidez fight. Because then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go and get the fucking interview, make a video, read what actually happened, point out the fact that Terence Crawford didn't say anything, and Bomac wasn't even talking to Errol Spence Jr. Bomac was talking to Todd duBoef. That's what I'm saying. It's just, and those type of narratives can start running off. And hey, man, I ain't got the biggest channel in the world, but god dog, I will get hundreds of those comments, man, hundreds of them. And I'm nipping that shit at the bud because, hey, pardon the pun, I'm gonna nip that shit at the bud because that's not what happened. And it's not fair to Errol Spence Jr. to say that happened because it didn't happen. Hold on, let me see something. I see your comment. You fucks with Bud. Wide Hudson, man, much love. He said if he was a boss, he wouldn't have to ask Bomac. That tells you the dynamic over there that we know is the dynamic. And I don't think it's right to act like that's not the dynamic. But I can understand why people wouldn't want to hear about the dynamic. Fairfax Fan Band, what up, Fernando Don? Happy Friday. Yes, hey, man, happy Friday to you as well, man. I'm making an unpopular video right now. LDBC is not a hive-minded, it's a collection of individuals. Absolutely, man. And hey, man, hold on. Oh, what's going on, Doc? He said you and Goodfellow are on point with this. Blue Blood is my man, and he said Bomac works for Terence, but they did not call out EJ. They did not call him out, dog. They did not. I put you on the stand, dog. You not get out of that. He did not. That's hearsay, and that shit's hearsay. I mean, like, that's hearsay. That's somebody telling me what somebody else said. My mind doesn't work like that, dog. You can't tell me what Terence Crawford said. If you got a mic and you put it in his face and he said it, then I'll be like, okay, I know he said it because I heard him say it. I heard him say it on a video. But if you tell me when the guy is more than capable of saying it himself, that somebody else said it, I can't do anything with that. But at the same time, I don't believe for anything that Terence Crawford wouldn't fight him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say he wouldn't fight him or he's scared of him. I'm not saying that shit because I don't believe that to be the truth. Shabazz says, popular with me, bros. What's up? I mean, dude, it's like, man, I'm telling you, get a lot of fucking comments, dog. And that comment, dog, if it was the other way with Terence Crawford, I would say the same thing. Don Ron, he don't have to respond to Bomac, but I think he should at the fight because he's not in training camp. Get up in the ring with the same energy. If he wants to do that, dog, I would support him 100% doing it. Right, Don Ron? That's 100. I agree with that 100%. But I just want to clarify something. The specific thing that I'm having issue with. Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. was at a press conference calling out Sean Porter. He has been trying to get a fight with Sean Porter and Keith Thurman for years. He's at the conference. It wasn't his fight. It wasn't his fight. That was Sean Porter and Danny Garcia's fight. And he, who was a bigger star than both of those dudes, got in the ring and with a mic in his hand and called out Sean Porter. Somebody in a press conference for him asked him about Terence Crawford. Why would what's he supposed to call out? Everybody? Was he supposed to say, Sean Porter, I want you next? Oh yeah, Terence Crawford, I want you next. How does that work? He can only fight one guy next. He's trying to make his next fight with Sean Porter. Somebody in the audience asks a question and brings up Terence Crawford. And then he says, look, man, I'm trying to fight Sean Porter. Now, he went into other sides of the streets and all that, but he said he wants to fight Sean Porter. What's he supposed to do, man? He's supposed to say, well, no, I don't want to fight Sean Porter. You want him to be wishy-washy? Say, nah, well, really, no, I think I'd better not try to fight Sean Porter. He doesn't seem like he wants it. Let me go over here to Terence Crawford, who's got 3 levels of people between me, and try to make that fight next. Come on. That's just not realistic to try to put that on that dude. And I wouldn't put it on Terence Crawford. He said EJ must have a twin too, huh? What's that? Oh, let me get back. But no, man, it's just dog. Hey, man. I'm not doing it, man. I don't think that's right. I don't agree with that. He said, Floyd, I don't like to argue, General Squirrels, quite honestly. I mean, I really don't like to argue. But when I see people come to my page telling me that Errol Spence is ducking, I hear people, what's going on, Sal? If people never came to me and never mentioned that shit to me, I would be like, okay, cool. Oh, Fanon, you peeped the Ganello. Boxing Archives, I never do CompuBox, dog. I never look at CompuBox. I think this shit is just trash. Dana Jones, if you think Spence is going to fight Bud on a $5 app, you crazy. Bob Arum will not give up promotional control to people. Listen to this shit that Bob Arum's. Listen to what the Todd duBoef said, dude. Look, man, I'm telling you, man, I am fluent in rich white dude speak. I speak that shit fluently. And let me give you an interpretation of a translation of what Todd duBoef says. Where is it? Of what Todd duBoef says. Todd duBoef. I'm trying to get to this. Give me 1 second, man. God, dog, where'd that motherfucker go? Oh, Crawford's coach. We want Spence, biggest name for us at 147. Right? That's the title. Let's listen to what Todd duBoef says. When a reporter pressed McIntyre on which welterweight champion Crawford realistically could fight next, assuming he beats Benavidez, duBoef interjected, which means duBoef says stop. Listen to what this shit says. A reporter pressed McIntyre on which welterweight champion Crawford could realistically fight next, assuming he beats Benavidez. duBoef said, let me answer that question. I think we're asking everybody to look in a crystal ball, right? You know what crystal balls are? Divining the future, which means he's like, look, man, we don't know who he realistically can fight next. And project out what everybody else's needs are and what everybody else wants to see. This motherfucker's saying that they don't even know if everybody wants to fight. This is Todd duBoef, the CEO of Top Rank, saying we don't even know who everybody wants to fight. We've established what we want to do. All right, we're not going to come to a press conference, and I mean this call is about Terence Crawford. I'm not going to divert like they did. We're giving us all the attention. We're going after all those guys. We're going to go after all those guys. So Todd duBoef says Todd duBoef is super non-committal about whether they want the Terence Crawford fight next. I mean, the Errol Spence Jr. fight next. So in rich white boy speak, trust me, that means he's not looking for that fight next. They're not looking. That's the smoke and mirrors that Errol Spence Jr. was talking about. Because Errol Spence Jr. was talking about what Bob Arum was doing. He didn't even say anything about what Terence Crawford was doing. He said, look, man, they're not going to make this fight. That Bob Arum and those guys are all smoke and mirrors. They're not going to want it. They're not going to want it. But right there in this same interview, that's what they say. I think we're asking everybody to look into a crystal ball and project out what everybody else's needs are and what anybody else wants to do. They're saying, man, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and I don't know what we're going to want to do. We don't even know if we want it. We don't know if we want the Errol Spence Jr. fight. That's what Todd duBoef said. That's the story of the article. I mean, but I'm cursed. Hey, you know. Anyway, man, they want to do it. They just want it faster. I don't know why. They both want it. Man, they're both going to have to push for it. They're both going to have to push for it. And guess who's going to have to push harder? Terence Crawford is going to have to push harder than Errol Spence Jr. has to push. Because you just heard what Todd duBoef said. Todd duBoef said he doesn't want the fight. He does not know if he wants that fight next. He doesn't want to project. He doesn't want to grab a crystal ball and project the future. But that shit's on Errol Spence to make it. And again, this is not a response to anybody in particular. This is the people on my channel that are going to come with this. Please don't do that. It's not fair, man. It's just not fair. I'm not going to extrapolate and say that Errol Spence, Terence Crawford didn't want the fight because he signed with Top Rank. I don't think that that's the truth. I don't think that it's a guarantee that, but come on, man. That's just, come on, man. 2020, no doubt. Yeah, that's more. I mean, I can have my theory about when that fight will be made. And I do have a theory about when it would be made. But you just heard what Todd duBoef said. This shit is not. Terence Crawford and Errol and Bomac couldn't make that fight next if they wanted to. They can't do it. But guess who can do it? Sean Porter, the WBC, and Sean Porter can make that Errol Spence Jr. fight next. The WBC just mandated, didn't they just mandate that a WBA champion get a shot at the WBC title? I think they did when they did Leo Santa Cruz, when Gary Russell Jr. was ordered to fight Leo Santa Cruz. They mandated a fight between the WBA 126-pound champion and the WBC 126-pound champion. If the WBA had pressure put on them, they could mandate Errol Spence Jr. to fight Sean Porter next, because they just did it with. They just did that to Gary Russell Jr. and Leo Santa Cruz. It could happen. But anyway, man, Justin March was good, man. Appreciate you, man. I just want to make sure, man, it's because, look, man, let me see, man. What's going on, Eric Jensen? It's a phenomenal chat room. We'll get these fights. Nobody is ducking when it comes to Errol Spence and Crawford. I agree with that. I don't think either one of the guys are ducking. I don't think Terence Crawford is ducking Errol Spence Jr. I don't even have any doubt that if Bob Arum and Todd duBoef jumped in the room and said, look, man, you got to take this fight next. We want to fight you to fight Errol Spence Jr. I think Bomac and Terence Crawford would be like, yeah, let's make it happen. If Errol Spence Jr. got an offer from them, say, look, Errol, we want to fight Terence Crawford and you don't have a fight on your plate. This is Al Heyman. Al Heyman goes to Errol Spence and say, look, I just got a call from ESPN and with Todd duBoef and Bob Arum were on the call, and they say, look, they want and Showtime, they said they're going to send we've worked out where the fight's going to be. We just need you to agree to fight Terence Crawford in February. Are you okay with that? We've worked everything out that we need to work out. I think Errol Spence would be like, yeah, let's make it happen. I believe both those guys would make it happen. That's what I truly believe. I don't think either one of those guys are scared of shit. Exactly, same comment. It's just timing, bro. No one's ducking. I'm with you. I don't believe anybody's ducking. I definitely don't think Errol Spence Jr. is ducking. I don't think Terence Crawford is ducking. And I want to see unification. So honestly, man, I would take, this is my personal point of view, I would take a Sean Porter and Errol Spence just as fast because it unifies the belts. Errol Taylor says, Team Crawford just talking. Now don't get me wrong, I'm taking Bomac at his word now. Said, nah, Uncle Al, I'm still on vacation. Nah, I don't believe that, dog. What's going on, D-Style Boxing? Subscribe to my man, D-Style Boxing. Tone Bangers, I agree with everything you said, Fanon. Hey, man, I'm glad you do. But man, it's just like, I don't want people, just let's not get carried away with what Errol Spence needs to do to respond to something Bomac said to Todd duBoef. They can't. Anyway, Errol stoppage. Errol, because hey, look, because quiet is kept, man. See, I never do this, and I'm not going to really do it. I don't do interviews on this channel, but that don't mean I don't talk to people. And I do talk to people, and I talk to people. I've got a couple friends who are very, very close to one of the sides, actually to both of the sides. And the person to the one side that I'm the closest to, that I talk to the most often, never interviewed a person, never quote in interviews, nothing. Have no doubt about what would happen with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. None. So much so they giggled about it. Giggled. Like giggled. Okay? So I have no doubt that these people are not ducking fights. That this guy is cool and that guy is cool. I got it. I believe it. At the same time, dude, we talking about Bob Arum, man. You just can't erase Bob Arum's name off the scenario. Like, Bob Arum don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, nah, don't worry. Meredith Campbell's a phenomenal. Sorry for joining late. Just got caught in my workout. Got Spence beating Crawford. Yeah, man, I don't know who's gonna win, man. Giggled or chuckled. It was more of a chuckle. It was more of a chuckle. Say Cruz Fanon, do interviews. You're a natural. No, not gonna do them, man. You know why I won't do interviews? I don't do interviews because it will be very difficult to recognize what you have a natural tendency to believe what somebody tells you. That's what it is. You have a natural instinct to believe what somebody tells you, right? And the gravity pulls you towards that person. It's like, and that's why I don't want to do it. I don't want to do them because that makes me feel like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And somebody is selling me. You know, I went to a workout place and because I'm trying to lose weight. So I go to a Lifetime Fitness is where I work out, right? And so I'm like, you know what? I really need to make sure. I've been lifting, I've been working out. My body seems like it changed, but I haven't lost weight. But it's probably muscle, and I try to verify it. And I work out with this girl. This girl's just, 20, probably 25-year-old fitness trainer, right? So she's selling me, quite good kind. And then she tries to sell me on some shit, which is gonna cost me like $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month to work out, right? So I'm like, okay, and she's telling me all these good things, and then she slides me the contract, right? Now I'm a lawyer, and I never sign contracts when somebody hands them to me. You never do that. You're not going to give me any contract that I'm going to sign, and when somebody says this to me, well, the important part of this contract is this: I'm done. Right? She said the important part of the contract. Let me point out the important part of the contract. And I was like, look, like I said, I'm a lawyer. I'm going to read this contract. But I like the girl. She's nice. She's giving me advice about how I can lose weight and all that stuff. And even in the condition that I am, and where my mindset is, I wanted to sign that contract. I wanted to sign it. Because I trusted her. She's smiling. She's nice. She's attractive. She's nice to me. I'm like, shit. But then I read back and I called somebody else. It's like, look, this is what she's trying to ask me to do. And this other lady who's a fitness trainer, she's like, look, that's a salesman. She's selling you. Okay? Tell her no. And then tell her what you want out of her and pay every time you go. Don't sign up for that shit. Right? So I'm like, dude, you get that same scenario, man. If Derek James was if I interviewed Derek James and Derek James is telling me, what their plans are and all that stuff, man, I'm going to believe Derek James if he's a nice guy, But so it's just tough. I mean, even getting on media members and all that stuff, like when they just put up the video and just let it fly, You know, like if you just put up the video and let it fly, you know, you put the video up and let it fly, man. But it is real tough when people are selling you. Sales is sales are hard to overcome, man. And I knew this deal this lady was offering me was bullshit. I still had to overcome my temptation to just sign it because it was easy to believe it. You know what I mean? Even though I know damn well I shouldn't have to pay $3,000 to lose 20 pounds. I'm like, God dog, nigga, how much money is that per pound this broad is charging me? Shit, I lose 30 pounds. It's gonna cost me $3,000 to lose 30 pounds. You fucking kidding me? You trying to I gotta pay $100 a pound. You fuck out of here, man. You know what I mean? Just go back and sit and think about it. And that's what I did. I mean, like with Bomac, I think the dude's man. I like the dude, man. He's funny. He's entertaining. I believe that he believes every word coming out of his mouth. I do. But, you know, hey, man, what I see is this. I see you work for Bob Arum. You know what I'm saying? He said, that's plastic surgery. I see you work for Bob Arum. You, at the end of the day, you work for Bob Arum. Bob Arum is paying you. Bob Arum and Top Rank are writing your checks. ESPN pays a check to ESPN. ESPN writes a check to Top Rank. Top Rank writes a check to Bud. Bud writes a check to at least that part I'm not sure of. Bud probably writes a check to Bomac. You know what I mean? And that's Bomac getting guaranteed money. I'm sure Bomac believes he can win the fight. But anyway, he said to lose weight, train yourself to stop when full. Tricky, but works. Hey, man, it's tough, dog. Yeah, I do. I'm getting better at that. Top Rank never promotes Bud's fights, man. I mean, you know, hey, dude, I got a lot of love for Bud Crawford. I do. Bud protectors. I don't think cats are protecting Bud. Bud don't need. See, I got to be careful here, man. It's a tough line to walk. I don't think that anybody is protecting Bud. So the issue isn't even Bud. I'm not saying, you're never going to hear me say that Bud does not want that fight. I'm not saying that they don't want the fight. I'm not calling Bomac a liar. I have a very narrowly defined, narrow statement, a narrow point of view, or a point that I'm trying to make. My argument is this: Errol Spence Jr. does not have to do anything different than what he is already doing in my eyes, which is attempting to unify belts at 147. He is actively seeking out Sean Porter for a unification fight. He was in the ring with Sean Porter, the WBC champion. He would have done the same thing for Danny Garcia if Danny Garcia won it. He did not have to go to that fight. He stood there. He called for the fight. He was calling for unification. Just because somebody asked him about Bud Crawford and he says, look, he's on the other side of the street, does not mean that Errol Spence now has to completely change what he's doing and deal with something because Bob Arum said something. That's what I don't agree with. I think that Terence Crawford is doing what Terence Crawford should do. He has a fight with David Benavidez. And I like the fact that Bomac did what he did. Bomac said to Todd duBoef, let's make this fight happen. And he forced Todd duBoef into making a statement about Errol Spence Jr. That tells you that Bomac is getting some resistance from ESPN about making the fight, which quite honestly is exactly what Errol Spence Jr. said. So, hey, man, that's just where I am on the shit. And I want to be clear, don't come to my channel telling me Errol Spence Jr. is ducking Terence Crawford, dog. Okay? Because it ain't going to fly, dog. It's not going to fly. And I'm going to dedicate a live stream to explain exactly why I don't think that's the case. You know what I mean? Because I don't believe that. I don't think Errol Spence needs to give up any money in a negotiation with Terence Crawford to counterbalance something that Bob Arum said. And Bob Arum, I don't believe Bob Arum. It's Bob Arum. It's Bob Arum. I mean, it's not a mystery. It's Bob Arum. Anyway, man. So let me get back to the comment section, man. And TZ Franks, I know that conversation, if you listen to what Errol's fighting December 1st, rumors Collazo, cool. Fight Collazo. I'm cool, whatever. Truth Speaker says Terence Crawford is going to fight Spence real soon. I think Crawford will probably win this fight if he can knock him out. I mean, I hope that the fight happens. It'd be great if it happens. Just like I'm looking forward to I'm looking for Deontay Wilder, Terence Crawford. I'm really looking forward to that fight. I mean, Errol Spence, excuse me, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and I don't know who's going to win that fight, man. That shit, man, boxing matches make, I don't know about y'all, but all boxing matches make me nervous, dog. Tito Carla said, for now, coconut water can make you lose weight. I lost 40 pounds. Damn. I'm riding a bike for 45 minutes and then working out, like lifting on my lower legs for like 3 reps of 10 for 3 sets of 10 for 4 different lifts on my legs, then doing the same thing for my upper body. But every time before I work out, I ride a bike for 45 minutes. Oh, St. Cruz said Bud needs to concentrate on Benavidez. He hasn't won yet his boxing. Yeah, no doubt about it. Just try it at work. Yeah, man, I'll do it. I don't like coconut water. Coconut water nasty, but is nasty, but I'll give it a whirl, man. No doubt about it. Hey, man, and I don't mean to offend anybody by my opinion either. Does anybody think Crawford will have any troubles getting past Benavidez? I don't. I think there's only 2 people in welterweight division that give Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford could have problems with. I think he'll beat Sean Porter, but I think he'll have difficulties with Sean Porter. But I think the only people I think in welterweight that have a chance to beat Terence Crawford are Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. And I'm telling you, I think Keith Thurman is a more difficult fight for Terence Crawford than a lot of people think. That's a tough. I think that is a very tough fight for Terence Crawford. If, of course, Keith Thurman is all the way back, you know. Young Merv, the cut man, said Errol should stay busy and then apply the pressure. Absolutely, man. Cutting into liquid calories and sauce. Cut out liquid calories and sauces and dressings. Yeah. I've done that too. My thing is, man, really, it's just that I went on a diet where I lost a lot of weight, but it was pretty much just through diet. It wasn't through exercise. And as soon as I went away from that for a minute, like all of the fat cells filled back up with water, and boom, I was right back where I was. And she was like over fucking night. So now I'm like, no, I got to do this the right way. I got to just eat clean and burn this shit off the honest way. I got to work out for an hour and a half a day and do that shit until this shit is gone. You know what I mean? I just can't take any shortcuts, no just, Atkins diet type of weight loss, because as soon as I did that shit, I mean, my God, dog, I got down to 200 pounds. As soon as I got off that shit, my shit went boom. I looked around, I looked in the mirror one day, I was like, God dang, that shit flew back and then some. Case Moose say, you think Crawford can handle Spence's body punches consistently? I don't know, man. His thing is, I don't think anybody's going to handle that consistently. But the question is whether or not Terence Crawford can get away from that. You know, if he can't land him, he can't hurt him with him. You know what I mean? Earl Thompson, Earl Taylor Sr. said Crawford versus Porter is a better matchup than Spence Crawford. Crawford is too small. Dog, that's the big danger for Crawford, dog. I'm telling you. That's a huge danger for Crawford. That's a huge danger for Crawford, because that shit catches everybody at a point. St. Cruz said crash diets never work. Steady change. Yeah. That's why I'm like, man, I can't do anything diet related. I got to get this shit off me the honest way. I got to gain muscle. He said, don't bring up that weight stuff. It's true, Sports TV. It's true. Weight matters, man. Size and strength matter. If it didn't, then everybody in the fucking NBA would be 5'3". Okay? Size, and if that was a case, You know, you'd have if size and strength didn't matter, you would have 150-pound offensive tackles, okay, in the NFL. It matters. Get your little dude, get his ass up in there with somebody that's that much bigger and stronger. They can hurt you, dude. It's a fact. If it wasn't that case, they wouldn't have weight classes. It's the fundamental division in boxing is weight, because there's a reason. It is not heavyweight versus there is not a. I don't think that there is a flyweight in the world that can win a heavyweight fight. I'm talking about Bud versus Benavidez. I'm not talking about Benavidez. You talking about David Benavidez, Jose? The weight, I said that's a difference. That's an issue with Bud and Spence. That's an issue with Bud and Jose Benavidez. Jose and Benavidez, I don't know. I don't think they're roughly the same size. It don't matter. I wasn't bringing that up. I know Jose Benavidez is probably a smaller, thinner guy than him, but he's a taller guy, and I think he's fought at 147 before. I think that they're roughly. I think that Jose Benavidez could probably fight at 140. Terence Crawford could probably fight at 140. Black News Northwest said crash diets are a scam. Cardio and food change is all that works. Yeah, man. I'm like, God, dog, these boxers ain't. Yeah, I got to do it. I ain't trying to cut not trying to cut weight for a bodybuilding contest. I'm really trying to get this shit up off me. CMS J-Dog, Spence got man down from Gotti, who got it from me, verifiable facts. That's what's up. From Gotti. From who's Gotti? Is that the boxing channel Gotti? Doc said Benavidez is going to surprise some people. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. We'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't really sized it up enough, man. See, this is how I'm feeling. Like with Terence Crawford, I'm not. Hey, man, somebody's going to have to prove me in that weight class they can beat Terence Crawford. You have to prove it to me. Like, you got to prove it. Even with Errol Spence, you got to prove it to me. I'm not going to say I think Errol Spence wins, but I'm not going to be like, I know Errol Spence wins that fight. I think he's going to win it. Ransom Jones, he said, why is trainer calling out Errol and not Crawford himself? I'm telling you, first of all, the trainer didn't even call out Errol Spence. The trainer called out Todd duBoef to make the fight. That's an important distinction in my mind. But still, I think he picked the wrong one this time. That's what's up. We'll see. Let's see what's going on, man. Let's see what's going on. I'm looking forward to it. When people say, but I'm just going to tell you again, man, I'm not going to, hey, man, you got to beat Terence Crawford to make me believe, man, that you can beat him. Fanon, did you see the video I sent? No, not yet. When did you send it? Send me an email with that. If you did it in the comment section, sometimes I'll miss it, man, because, you know, I did an Anthony Joshua video. I had a lot of Fanon, you're asshole type comments yesterday that I had to go through. You know, so that wasn't easy, man. Errol is a welter until he's not. Yeah, pretty much. Fanon, you can post a link. Absolutely. Go ahead, man. It's apparent Fanon knows the difference from a fact opposed to an opinion. Yeah, man, I'm well versed in that shit. Well versed in the difference between a fact and an opinion. And I'm just, I never let hearsay to me. That shit does not work, dog. No. Bud, Derek James telling me that what Errol Spence said to him, I can't go with it unless you show me what the dude said it. Like I know that Deontay Wilder said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua because I can Google the shit. It's there, and it's unequivocal. There's no different way you can interpret it. I want to fight you. It's not. Hey, line them up and I'll beat them all. That shit is not the same thing. Line them up, I'll beat them all. Dog, that's how motherfuckers steal from you, dog. I'm telling you. Cats be thinking like when you read agreements or people get over on you, that it's the big words that you can't understand that fuck you. It's not. It's the little words, man. It's the will versus shall. That's the word that fucks you. Will versus May. That shit changes everything, man. And I'm stuck on that. I'm sorry. That's what the motherfucker said. I can't say that's not what he said. That's what the fuck he said. Okay? Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford did not call out Errol Spence Jr. Bomac called out Todd duBoef. And Todd duBoef said no to boot. He said, we'll talk about it. We don't know what we want. I ain't talking about that shit now, Bomac. I'm not giving Errol Spence any shine on this. We talking about Terence Crawford. We're not talking about Errol Spence. That's what he said. He ducked the question. Yeah, you can. But if Terence Crawford gets in the ring and calls out Errol Spence, I want you, Errol Spence, then we can talk. Then it's like, okay, Errol Spence, he called you out. What are you going to say, Errol? Mike's in your hand. You had another champion saying that they want to fight you. And since this other champion said he wants to fight you, and the other one doesn't want to fight you, dude, what are you going to do to try? Will you fight him? Do you want that fight? Answer the question, Errol. And I'll say it, and I'll do that. Absolutely. Got no problem doing it. But I ain't going to defend it ahead of time. I'm not going to be ahead of time. Like, hey, he didn't do that. So I don't got to worry about that till he does it. When he does it, then Errol Spence should respond to it. That's fair. Bob Arum needs to speak out for himself. Period, point blank, man. Bob Arum, that shit has to be on. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the public. The actual making of that fight, dog, I'd love to see it, but I don't know. I know Bud thinks he can win that fight. I know I believe Bomac believes he can win that fight. I believe Terence Crawford believes he can make that fight. He can win that fight. I believe that Errol Spence Jr.'s, Terence Crawford's fans believe he can win that fight. I don't know if Todd duBoef thinks he can win that fight and is so convinced of it that he's willing to bet that his number 2 dude, the guy that they want to build up, that ESPN wants to build up, that he's willing to do that. But I said Bud Arum. Yeah, Bud Arum. No, I mean, Bob, like I said, I'm a fan of Terence Crawford, man. I'm a supporter of Terence Crawford. I have ESPN app. I have the app. All right. I have the app. I've got a bunch of videos supporting Terence Crawford. A bunch of them. I got more videos supporting Terence Crawford than most people do. Black Seas, what were you timed out for? I bet any kind of money Crawford, he gonna do it after he win next week and fuck with Spence. If he does it, he does it. But here's the thing, do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it. When it happens, it happened. Until it happens, it ain't happened. Till it happens, it ain't happened. He could have done it. He could have done it after the he could have done it after the Jeff Horn fight. Could have done it after the Jeff Horn fight. If he does it after this fight, hey, I applaud. Errol, mic's in your hand. You gonna say something about it? I'll do the video. I promise you, I'll make the video. But I ain't gonna like hold Errol Spence accountable 2 weeks ahead of time for something that might be said. Doc, he ain't got the nuts to do that. I mean, no Mac gonna do it for him. Yeah, I mean, here's my thing too. See, I'm trying to tell you, I'm very particular about this circumstance, man. Fanon, you didn't time me out, did you? Heck no, I didn't time you out, dog. I've been running my mouth, man. I've been making enemies of subscribers. Cats that I like to talk about with all kind of other stuff, man. But hey, man, when Errol Spence's name deserves to be run through the mud, I'll run it through the mud. I'll drag it right through the mud. When it's supposed to be, not ahead of time. I didn't do that to Anthony Joshua until he deserved it. Was Anthony Joshua? I used to be an Anthony Joshua fan. But then, hey, no. What do you mean you're going to freeze somebody out? What the hell you mean maybe you'll freeze him out? I was done right there. Maybe freeze him out? No. I had no time because there's no way that you can take that out of context. If he keeps running his mouth, shut up or I'll freeze you out. That's what he communicated. That's straight up and down, dog. That's unequivocal. That's bitch acidness at its bitch acidness finest. You know what I mean? That was it. I was done with them. There's no coming back from that. You know what I mean? But Errol calling out Sean Porter and then having somebody ask him about Terence Crawford. He didn't bring up Terence Crawford just on his own. Somebody asked him about that. And I think it might have been somebody from ESPN that asked him about that. I mean, what's he supposed to do? No comment. No comment. I'm not talking about him. That shit would have been just as bad. Cats that are going to try to get Errol Spence for that shit, we're going to get Errol Spence for that shit regardless. Because they're Team Crawford. What's going on, Jim? Judah Ben Israel. Peace, shalom, Fanon. Yo, this Spence Crawford fight can be just as huge as Wilder Fury. It's up to us. It's up to us, the brothers, to make this fight happen. Look how Wilder was talking about the LWBC. Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% with that. Budley said bitch assness at its finest. It is. It was bitch assness at its finest. There's no coming back from saying some shit like that. Okay? I was a Keith Thurman fan. Still am, a quiet as kept. Shut up. Got this dog, man. This dog. That was me yelling at my dog, man. This dog got this bass voice, man. Anyway, I was a Keith Thurman fan, dude. I was a Keith Thurman fan before I was an Errol Spence Jr. fan. And I looked at what Keith Thurman said about get your weight up, young buck. I'm like, whoa, no, one time. That's bitch time one time. No, that's bitch assness. Can't do it. Can't do it. You know what I mean? If Errol Spence did it, I would say it. But he didn't do that. Spence killing anything. We'll see, man. I want to see him fight, man. Fanon, you notice how this is one of the most heated topics in boxing? It is. You know what, Broderick? Why it's so heated? Because they have the same fan base. They have the same fan base. But ain't no Bomac ain't getting no free lunch out of me, dog. I'm sorry. Ain't no free lunch over here, dog. If your boy calls him out, your boy called him out. All right? It ain't no parental, you don't get no parental, no parent, this ain't no parent-teacher conference, dog. You don't get to sign in for your son. Okay? You don't get to call out for your kid. All right? You have to, your son is Errol Spence, Terence Crawford is an adult. Terence Crawford is a 30-year-old grown-ass man with a family and kids and got more than ability to speak for his own self. You ain't none of this. You don't know. He is not, you do not get power of attorney on that dude. That dude has to agree to that. Okay? He has to call for that. No brownie points because your mama wants to fight, dog. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not doubting that he'll do it. Big Mac, Bomac is cool people. Man, I got a lot of respect for Bomac, man. And I'm not going to insult Bomac because of his weight. My daddy's a big man. You know what I mean? My daddy's a big man. But my daddy don't get to talk shit for me. You know what I mean? My daddy don't get to talk shit for me. This is not like I said, this is not a parent-teacher conference, man. You don't get to, no. Your mom, you don't get to be like, well, Bomac, would you like this? Bomac don't sign that contract. Terence Crawford has to say it. Him. And no, I'm sorry. And I ain't getting off that. I'm not holding. And here's the other thing. Just like Shelly Finkel saying that Deontay Wilder, doesn't need to be rushed into a Vladimir Klitschko fight. Deontay Wilder did not say that. So anytime somebody comes to my channel and tells me about how Deontay Wilder says something about how Deontay Wilder ducked Klitschko because Shelly Finkel said, and I'm like, hit the brakes. Shelly Finkel said it. What are you talking to me about something that Shelly Finkel said for? What did Deontay Wilder say? So it goes both ways. You don't get to say Deontay Wilder ducked Vladimir Klitschko because something that Shelly Finkel said. You also don't get to say that Terence Crawford called out Errol Spence Jr. because something Bomac said. That's just, it don't work, man. You got to be consistent across the board to the best that you can be. Sometimes, I'll fuck up my consistency. But not on this one, I'm not. Because I like both fighters. And I don't want the other thing to be said about Terence Crawford, dog. I don't want the other thing to be said about Terence Crawford because the shit will turn around and happen to Terence Crawford the other way around. When they said all that bullshit about why Terence Crawford wasn't the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world and why he wasn't fighter of the year, that was some bullshit, fake ass, phony, bullshit ass comparisons they were making with Lomachenko. It wasn't right. Because Terence Crawford has done more and did more that year than Lomachenko did. And all those arguments, yeah, man, it wasn't fair to the dude. You can't tell me that a cat didn't fight he only fought one guy in his own weight class all year, and that dude was a journeyman, and somehow he's fighter of the year over somebody that unified belts at 140 pounds and held all the belts. You know what I mean? I can't do that. And somebody gonna turn around and do that to Errol Spence to Terence Crawford. Watch that motherfucker have a little bit of problem with Jose Benavidez. Get dropped in a fight, dog. And all of a sudden, man, them motherfuckers will blackball Terence Crawford quicker than they fucking can hiccup. Leaf Hall says Crawford ain't did shit but beat bums. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the truth. He ain't done nothing at welterweight, but you know, he beat the bums. You know what I mean? He beat the dudes. And I can tell how he fights. I can tell how he fights. He can fight, dude. The only full welterweight Crawford fight was who? He fought some, I think he fought some guys who were he fought one guy. But I mean, I'm not gonna. Bud Crawford can fight, man. Bud Crawford can fight. I can tell the dude can fight. I think he moves up to 147 nicely. That question's been answered for me about whether he can handle his business at 147 pounds. He's big enough and he's strong enough to fight at 147 pounds. Until I see otherwise, man. In Park say, you're right, Fanon. It's up to fighters to say what they mean and mean what they say. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And I know people are fans of Terence Crawford and want to support Terence Crawford. But dog, Terence Crawford got to open Terence Crawford's mouth, man. He's a grown man. He's 30 years old. He can speak for himself. You know, I'm at a basketball game with my son, and these dudes, little kids who are a little older than my son, will walk up. Well, and my son is shooting basketball. Can he play? You know, it's asking me if my son can play with them. And I'm like, my son's 12 years old. You know, he's not 30. And I'll still be like, he's standing right there. Ask him. You don't have to ask me if he wants to play. Go talk to him. Same thing. I don't want to talk to Bomac about what Terence Crawford wanted to do. I want to talk to Terence Crawford about what Terence Crawford want to do. I seen Crawford get rocked by Gamboa. Yeah, he did, but Gamboa hits you on the chin, man. Gamboa can hurt somebody. Gamboa can punch. Man, these dudes be so full of shit. Dude, you UK fans, man. This dude, Dr. Wigmore. Man, Mr. Wigmore, this dude, people just be making shit up. Is that the same $50 million that sought backing from Frank Warren and BT Sports? Who told you that? Eddie Hearn? Like, gotta quote Eddie Hearn, dog, on some shit. I ain't quoting Eddie. If you bring me something Eddie Hearn said, I'm gonna assume it's a lie. Slap Wigmore. That's what I'm saying, man. God, dog. And I just don't want. I like you. I like my fellow Terence Crawford fans too much. Blue Blood said Crawford never called out, but he did. Hey, man, Blue Blood Blue Blood's got his points, man. Blue Blood can stand up for what Blue Blood says. I'll leave that between you and Blue Blood. Blue Blood Sports TV does great work, man. Subscribe to Blue Blood Sports TV. I ain't here to beef with no individual person about stuff. I had a conversation with Blue Blood. I respect Blue Blood's point of view on it. I got my point of view on it. Great channel. Subscribe to Blue Blood Sports TV. Does excellent interviews, man, and works very hard on a consistent basis. Bud Lee Love Sr. All Eddie do is lie. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm sure he tells the truth every blue moon. You know what I mean? He'll tell the truth to somebody he can't lie to. Crawford is an A-class fighter, man. I don't go with that. Bud Crawford is he's an A-plus fighter. He's not a BC fighter, Lee Hall. He's an A-plus fighter, man. Brian Olifanan. So Crawford can talk trash on social media about fighters, but can't call out Spence. Blue Blood needs to get off that. Other people being hey, man, I mean, it's just not. Look, man, like I said, man, I ain't piecing with Blue Blood. Blue Blood got a channel. It's Blue Blood Sports TV. Go to Blue Blood Sports TV. He can say that, man. If he believes his point of view is, and see, Blue Blood's got a different. He's got a different angle. If he's actually speaking to Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford told him something that makes him believe that, then hey, man, I'm not going to argue with his point of view because That's his experience. Terence Crawford. I ain't never met Terence Crawford. I've never asked for an interview for Terence Crawford. I ain't never gonna ask for an interview with Terence Crawford. Blue Blood is talking about the vibes he got from Terence Crawford. I'm cool with that. The only difference that I have with people, with anybody that where I have to rely on something that somebody said that I didn't hear. I don't do that. You know what I mean? I don't do that. But if other people want to do it, it is whatever. Said I disagree with homie on this one, but he's my dude. Yeah, exactly, man. Just salute. Dude's a great dude. I ain't beefing with people, dog. I ain't beefing with people. For now, I ride with Blue, but he's letting Aaron treat him like a hey, man, well, you know, it's all good, man. Grown men are supposed to disagree at times. Yeah, man, you're going to disagree. Crawford is not an A+ fighter yet, 147 until he fights good fighters. Well, he's an A+. Hey, man, I don't see how, if Terence Crawford's not an A+ fighter, then there's not an A+ fighter in boxing. All right. It's just you unify all 4 belts in a weight division, man, and you win your championship on your first shot into the division. You got to be an A+ fighter, man. I mean, he's an A fighter. All right. Maybe A+ is, you know, if Muhammad Ali is A+, then okay, maybe Terence Crawford's an A. But hey, dog, you just can't do what he did without that. You can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it. The dude is like that, dog. Dude is like that. I'm saying the things that I'm saying about this situation. New Money said, I'm pissed off at how the WBC is doing Errol Spence. I'm getting turned off. I will advocate no support for Sean Porter if he doesn't fight Spence. Errol Spence Jr. You got to say EJ. I got to get used to that. Yeah, I mean, the WBC is there for purchase, man. What's going on, Izzy fam? They're for purchase, man. You know what I mean? They're for purchase. They're going to do what they do. Man, Ascension Sports TV coach John Roberts, what's good, man? He said, people trying to find cracks in LWBC, but there are none. Trolls need to stop trying this. The best ideas come from conflicts and disagreements. Hey, look, man, 100%. No person is a community, man. It's a community. You're going to disagree with. I disagree with my daddy. You know what I mean? I love my daddy like I love my daddy more than I love as much or more than I love anything on this earth. That is my hero. That has been my guiding light in life. And there's been times when I wanted to knock out, drag out, and fight with him. You know what I mean? I don't agree with things that he says. We're two different people. But I love that dude with all my heart, you know? And it is what it is. And just like here, man, I'm narrowly defining this thing on Crawford because it's going to be the toughest thing to do. And I'm stay consistent. I'm not going to allow Errol Spence Jr. Hey, look, I'll put it this. I say I can't be allowed to it, right? I'm not going to say I won't allow it. I am not going to sit and not say something about a line of reasoning that is going to tear down Errol Spence Jr. for nothing that he actually did. He did not duck Terence Crawford. He did not say anything about Terence Crawford that was wrong about that situation. He wasn't even talking about Terence Crawford. He was talking about Bob Arum. What he said was the truth. I mean, he said the truth. That shit's the truth. It's not make-believe. That shit's the truth. So I don't know why I'm not going to, no, I'm going to say something about that. It's the truth, what he said. Michael Johnson said, Ortiz responded, White can fight me on the 1st, and White responded he can do December 22nd. Carl Frampton is fighting the 22nd on BT Sports that day. Dog, bullshit. Dillian White is full of shit. Dillian White is full of shit. Dillian White, bring your bitch ass over here to the United States and fight on December 1st. Bitch ass. You'll fight on December 22nd. You ain't fighting on no fucking December 22nd. Lying ass fuck boy. Go down there and fight that dude on the 21st, on the 1st. He said it first. What's going on, Antonio Mendoza? I don't give a shit what Dillian White said. Dillian White full of shit, man. Fight him on the 1st, dude. You know, I just want to see the fight all day. Absolutely, man. He said, I don't have to be a troll to disagree. We all disagree. Exactly. No, ain't nobody got to be a destroy. Hey, man, hey, we got all kind of people on this channel, man, that disagree. I disagree with people all the time, man. You know what I mean? I'm telling people disagree with me that Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury is a dangerous fight for Tyson Fury. And I'm worried about that fight, man. I ain't gonna lie, I'm worried about that fight. Don Ron said you have to say it with a F, Fanon. Truth. Fucking truth. Got that right. What's going on, Mr. Finesse? White isn't going any noise unless he fights Ortiz, man. Dude, man, get the fuck out of here, man. 7 we got undercards, Wilder, Fury, Errol, Tank. I don't know, man, what's gonna happen with that, man. Shout out in the super chat. We'll see what goes on, man. We'll see. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, man. I'm looking forward to it though. 100%, man. For now, what's good? Did you check out Tyson's interview on the Breakfast Club? It's worth a watch. Any idea when they will drop the undercard? I don't know, Lawrence RBE. Man, I gotta give you a mod, Lawrence RBE. Yeah, I did, man. I thought that was him talking about mental health, man. I think that was touching, man. I mean, you know, we all have it in our family, man. I've had close experiences with that. And, you know, it's real tough. And what he said about coming back from that, hey, man, he's a success in life, man, because, well, he's fortunate that he has enough money and he has a profession that allows him to overcome that. But a lot of people that went through what he went through, you know, wind up on the street corners, you know, without teeth, begging for money. You know what I mean? That's tough. He said, I'm disagreeing. He said, you said Tyson Fury is dangerous to fight Tyson Fury. You said Tyson Fury is dangerous to fight Tyson Fury. That is dangerous. I'm not sure. I think it's dangerous to fight Tyson Fury for Deontay Wilder. If I misspoke, forgive me. Errol Spence Jr. isn't an undercard fighter anymore. Nah, he's not, man. He's the main event, dog. Bud Lee Sr., Tank ain't ducking. Nah, he's a beast. Yeah, I don't think Tank's going to duck anybody, man. Tank can fight, man. Subscribe to Ty Legacy right now. Yes, man, my man Ty, that's my dude. But now I'm going down Tunica casinos and putting 500 on Wilder. That's what's up. That's what's up. I don't gamble, man. I don't gamble on that boxing, man. You never know what's going to happen, man. But I'm looking forward to the fight 100%. Tank versus Mars on the undercard as well. Yeah, I've heard all these fights that are supposed to be on the undercard. It sounds too good to be true to me, so I'm gonna hold up my judgment on that, man. Like, I'll talk about the undercard when I see it, because that shit was so good, dog. Find it yourself. If you're a true boxing fan, you know that Bud is multiple times. Bud has won multiple times. What? You talking about Bud has called out to Errol Spence Jr. multiple times? Why didn't Bud call out Spence? Why did his manager do? Bud has been calling him out all year. No, fuck no, Black Seas. Hell no, he ain't been. I challenge people to tell me where he did it. I challenge you to tell me where he did it. Saying that you'll fight anybody is not calling somebody out, dude. That's not the same thing. Saying, yeah, I would fight Mikey, I'll fight Errol Spence. That's saying you will fight him. That means you will fight him. Yeah, I would fight him. Yeah, I'll fight him. That's not calling somebody out. Calling somebody is like Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. Let me knock. Knock. Errol Spence Jr. WBC, IBF welterweight champion. I want to fight you next. You are a bitch. I will whoop your ass. Sign the contract. I want to fight you. My guys are going to be calling you to get you to fight me this next month. That's a call out. Not Lomachenko I'll fight anybody. Line them up, I'll take them down. That's not a call out, dude. That's not a call out, which is why nobody can point to me a time where he says, I want to fight Errol Spence Jr. next. I want to fight Errol Spence Jr. No, I'm not interested in 5 other fights. I'm interested in Errol Spence Jr. You can't call out 6 people at the same time. You can't. You're not calling them out. You know what I mean? It's not, I want to fight Who do you want to fight? Well, I want to fight Deontay Wilder, and I want to fight Errol Spence. And I want to fight Anthony Joshua, and I want to fight Tyson Fury, and I want to fight Derek Chisora, and I want to fight Alexander Usyk. I'll fight all of them. Line them up. I'm gonna fight who my manager puts in front of me, but I'll fight all of them. That's not a call out, man. A call out is what what Errol Spence Jr. did to Sean Porter. I want to fight you next. He was standing a foot away from him with a mic in his hand. I want to fight you next. Don't fight anybody besides me. We're going to do this next, right? You remember how you got in the ring with Danny Garcia and said you wanted him next? You remember that? I'm doing it to you, Sean Porter. I'm in your face. Don't go nowhere. I want you next. Don't fight nobody else next. Fight me. That's a call out. Saying that you're willing to fight somebody else is not a call out. It's not a duck. That's not a duck either, but it's not a call out, dude. Which is why when I get in these conversations with people, they can never tell me where Errol Spence called him out because he didn't do it. He has not done it. There's nothing for Errol Spence Jr. to respond to. People are asking for Errol Spence to respond to something that hasn't happened. You know, it ain't happened. Anyway, man. He said, I hardly doubt he was that drunk. I mean, Errol Spence Jr. was drinking. I have no doubt that he was drinking. White responded with a tantrum first, crybaby. Dang, come on, man. Talk to him for now. That's a call. That is what a call out is. Saying you want to unify is not exactly a call out. It's not. It's not. Exactly. Bomac is doing the calling out, man. That's who's calling him out. Dog, I'm telling you, he ain't called him out. There ain't nothing to respond to. I mean, that's be like one step away from his daddy calling him out and saying, hey, you know, Errol Spence Jr.'s dad called out Terence Crawford. How's Terence Crawford going to respond to this? For now, what about if somebody calls you out indirectly? How can you call out somebody indirectly? That's like slapping somebody in the face by hitting somebody else. Yeah, I slapped the shit out of him indirectly. What do you mean you slapped? Yeah, I slapped his friend. Huh? Either you slapped him or you didn't slap him. Either you called someone out, which is come here. That's a calling to somebody. But look, man, I'm not saying maybe Terence Crawford doesn't call people out. That's not what he does. If that's not what he does, that's not what he does. But still, he didn't do it. Just because that's what he does, just because that's not what he does doesn't mean he gets credit for doing it. You know what I mean? I don't eat pork, so I ate pork. That shit don't work. Yeah, we know he doesn't eat pork. He would eat the pork, but he doesn't eat pork. You know what I mean? So, let's give him credit for eating the pork. No, he didn't eat the pork. You know what I mean? No, it was who can eat the most pork, and he don't eat pork. He loses. He didn't eat the pork. Fanon, you think this is bad? If Bud and Cross ever happens, watch out. The fans of both will come at you heavy for any perceived slight. I'm using every ounce of my walk the middle of the line that I possibly can. Merciless Moose. He means calling out multiple people, I think, or somebody might slight trash talk after a fight or something like that. Yeah, but that's not calling the guy out. That's saying you'll fight everybody. Calling for a fight. This is what we're trying to achieve by this, right? We want to see a fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, right? Let's agree that that's the object. A fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. That's the object. If Errol Spence says, I want to fight Sean Porter and Terence Crawford and Mikey Garcia and Omar Figueroa and Adrian Bronner and Canelo Alvarez and Jamal Charlo and Jermell Charlo and Israelanda Lara and Jared Hurd. Did he call out Terence Crawford? No. He just called out 15. He just called out 30 people. He just gave us a list of people he would fight. That's not advancing the fight. That's not putting any pressure on anybody. Because Terence Crawford could turn around and say, look, he didn't call me out. He said he wanted to fight Jared Hurd. And he said he wanted to fight Mikey Garcia. Andy said that he wanted to fight this guy. Andy wanted to fight that guy. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? That's like saying, hey, a girl asks you, here I'm gonna do a 78. A girl, you ask a girl, will you be my girlfriend? I want you to be my girlfriend. And she said, well, I would be your girlfriend, or I'd be his girlfriend, or I'd be his girlfriend, or I'd fuck that dude, and I would fuck that dude, and I would fuck that dude too. Does that mean she wants to be your girlfriend? Hell no. Shit. Oh, said Gravy Dave said, I'm still laughing since got into the ring after Porter win and said, hello, sir. But now you the Mississippi, can you find the truth? I'm just telling you, man, the shit that's how that works. Okay, ain't no outs in this shit. Okay, I'm not giving you no outs in this shit. You don't get no credit for your daddy doing some shit, dog. You don't get any credit for that. Oh man, look at my house, nigga. Your daddy owns that house. Well, I live in it. No, it's your daddy's house. My son come home and tell me how rich some kid is. I'm like, that kid is rich? No, that kid ain't got a damn dime. His daddy got that money. Unless his ass does his homework, unless he gets his homework done, unless he gets good grades in school and he gets a job, or somebody leaves it to him, that ain't his money. That's his daddy's money. Mr. Finesse said, how? How what? Let me explain this. I got $50,000 in my bank account, right? And I got my son, and my son goes to tell somebody about how much money we got in our bank account. My son ain't got shit in his bank account. My son got $50 in his bank account, and I gave it to him. It's my house. That's my money. It ain't his money. That's my money. He ain't paid the taxes on it. IRS calling him asking for some money? No, it ain't his shit. It's my shit. I take care of him. He will eat, but it's my shit. And I'll tell my kids that in a minute. What the fuck you doing? You don't pay no rent. This ain't your shit. It's my shit. This is my shit. You got no mortgage. Whose money is it? It's my money. Is it your money or is it your mama's money? It's our money. It's our money. She's my wife. I'm her husband. This is hers. This is mine. That's how that works. Anyway, Spence has basically called Terence out by downplaying his resume and speaking about him on various outlets. I don't know if he called him out or not. I don't think Errol Spence has called out Terence Crawford. He might have called him out like this. Like, he might have called him like, I'm going to call you out for being a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I can call out, like, I'll call out Eddie Hearn for being a liar. Hey, Eddie Hearn, you're a liar. That ain't the same thing as calling him out to fight. He says, sit your little ass down. Quit talking my business too. Exactly. Nigga, that ain't my money. What are you talking about? That ain't your money. You ain't got no money. And that's one of the things kids have a little problem with when it comes around to it. Like, hold on, this shit ain't yours. Barefax Bud ain't got no belt. Thurman or Porford before Shaw. That's in-house money, bruh. Marinate on that. Yeah, I mean, he's got the belt, but it's a WBO. Real Mun said, I've been out of boxing loop for a while. Good to hear a real one. Hey, what's going on, Real Mun, man? Good to see you. It's always, man. It's always fun to talk to y'all about this boxing, man. Porter ain't with the crew. Porter, that's the sad thing, man. That shit should happen, man. You know what I mean? Fanan, not how you look at the comment before I wrote that. Mr. Fanan, not how you look at the comment before I wrote it. Mr. Finesse. Bo Mac, the only one talking shit. Oh, okay. I'm sorry if I think maybe you mean I misinterpreted what you said. My bad. Real Mun, thoughts on Spence next fight? Hey man, I'm sorry I missed that super chat, man. I've heard it's gonna be Luis Collazo. We know it's not gonna be Mikey Garcia, and it's probably not gonna be Sean Porter. So I suspect it'll be like Luis Collazo, be somebody like that. I hope it's Luis Collazo because that'll be a good fight, man. I love to see that. That shit would be very, very entertaining, and I'm glad to see Errol Spence Jr. staying busy. I put Errol Spence Jr. versus Luis Collazo is a slightly better fight than Terence Crawford versus Jose Benavidez. I put that it's about that same level of fight. Same thing as Sean Porter versus whoever Sean Porter is going to fight next. In the first mandatory spot. Black Seas, you got to admit Bud been putting pressure on Spence to make the fight. No, I do not, Black Seas. Have to see that. He has put no pressure on Errol Spence Jr. to make the fight. That's my whole point. People that support Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, are putting pressure on Errol Spence to make the fight. Shit, I agree with that. Bomac has said things that have had other people put pressure on Errol Spence. But no, I don't believe Terence Crawford has put any pressure on him. Bud ain't asked for the fight. That's my whole point. This pressure is manufactured. That's my thing. That's perception. If I interpret something that Errol Spence Jr. said to mean that he's calling out Canelo Alvarez, and then I start going with the line that he made that he's calling for that, then I guess you could argue that that Errol Spence Jr. did something to create pressure on Canelo Alvarez. But that wasn't his intention. That's my interpretation. I'm the one putting pressure on. So yeah, there are people that are putting pressure on Terence Crawford, on Errol Spence Jr. to fight Terence Crawford. People are but it ain't Bud that did it because Bud ain't said nothing. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, not Terence Crawford didn't do it. We're doing it. You know what I'm saying? We're doing it. Boxing fans are doing it, and that's fair enough. If boxing fans are going to put the pressure on them, put the pressure on them. I got no issue with that, but I just don't think it's not because that Bud Crawford did, and it ain't anything that Errol Spence did. Watch your mouth, kiddo. If you said if Bud get another belt before Spence, the answer is he won't. It's in-house money line. Bud versus he's not going to get another belt before Errol Spence does, because they're not going to pay for that. He said, for now, remember the Bill Cosby joke he told Vanessa? Me and your mother are rich. You own nothing. Exactly. What the fuck you talking about? You ain't got doo-doo around this joint. Why was Bear Facts timed out? He retracted a message. What did Bear Facts do? What's good, Bear Facts? But it's all good. You know, it's a good argument to have, man. It ain't, it's all good. But look, man, I'm gonna run up out of here, man. I've spoken my piece on Terence Crawford and Errol Spence situation. Fanon, Aaron made it clear that until it's 500,000 pay-per-view, he isn't even talking to the other side. Dude, he said it. He said, doggone, man. He said, ultimately, maybe down the road, if it's pay-per-view, the fight can happen. And the response to that is that Bob fucking Arum is putting pressure on Errol Spence Jr. to make the fight. Myron Mangus, free smoke, maybe smoke screens. We'll see. For now, I'm going to get your email from Black Fight Fan TV to send you a jingle. Here it goes. You ain't got to do that here. I give it to you. There you go, man. That's my email. I'm trying to tell you, man, and like I said, I be having this conversation with my dad. I'm like, man, they didn't say that. Man, a true story, man. It's a story, I'll tell you. I'm not going to lie to you, dog. God, dog, man, I was sitting in this because I used to be, I was sitting in a meeting with the former mayor back in like 2006 with a mayor, with two mayors of major cities. One guy was a mayor of Chicago and the other guy was a mayor of Memphis. I was sitting there and listening to these dudes talk about a newspaper article that was written and how people will read a news article. They read the title, they'll read the first 4 paragraphs, and in the 5th, 6th paragraph will be the meat of the article where they provide you, where they turn around and refute everything they said in the first half of the shit. But very few people read the 4th and 5th paragraph of the fucking article. And that's what happened with that Bob Arum article. I'm like, he said, ultimately, eventually, if it becomes pay-per-view, maybe, perhaps, maybe, possibly, we can do it. I'm like, what the fuck what is this? God, dog. I'm sorry, dog. You know him. You know my man, Big Willie. You know him. Yeah. Big 6'4" Willie. Yes, sir. Willie. They used to be killing Willie. Calling him King Willie. Remember when they were calling him King Willie? He's called him King Willie. Talking about how he's doing this, that, and the other thing, dog. And you read down in fucking Commercial Appeal, fucking 5 paragraphs down, dog. He said contracts like that, beware the fine print. You got that shit right. And cats be relying on that shit, man. They rely on it. That's just some like I'm only gonna say this because Bison Clinic and more mentioned the defamation thing, dog. Dog, it's con man speak is what it is, Justin. Con man speak. The motherfuckers say a bunch of shit, but if, ands, or buts, and candy and nuts, dog. But it's like, if you want to call Terence Crawford could never get me for defamation. Never. Because I will say this. I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, that he has sex with monkeys. That's what I heard. I can't verify it, though. Ha, ha, ha. But I believe it. There you go. What's he going to get you? You didn't give it. That's not defamation of character. That's just you. You didn't say it was true. You said you don't know. He can be mad as he fucking wants. You didn't say it. Reports say that. I mean, I'm just trying to tell you, man, that's how they do it. And they do that shit on purpose to get you to do that shit. They say it that way to get you to do that. They say those things in the manner that they said it, hoping that you go with it. Willie's still the king. Yes, sir. He out there killing. Hey, man. Big Willie Harrington, baby boy. Yes. As a good dude, man. That guy treated me nicely, man. Allegedly. Exactly, dude. What he said was ultimately. And then he said when he's ready. Do you know how many different ways you can interpret when he's ready? Anyway, man. That's just me. I'm sure we'll agree on something in the future, dog, but maybe just not this one. Anyway, man, much love to everybody in the super chat, man. I'm probably gonna check you out tomorrow. Hey, Raul Gutierrez, nothing me talking shit. That's it. Bug come from 130. Much respect, Big. Yeah, Duke can fight. Man, I cannot. Oh, what's going on? Ya wadaya. I surely hope Errol Spence shows up to Crawford fight and gets in the ring and says, say what you telling Bomac. Say it to my face. Yeah, let's hope he does. It would be great if he did. Say it more than phone. AL, what's good, man? Al. Oh, say more than call Al. Hey, man. Both of them got to do it. No winning. We winning no matter what. Yeah, ain't no doubt about it because they're both great fighters, and I support both of them. But you cats on my channel ain't about to. Yeah, Willie Golden Gloves. Yeah, man. I actually checked out. That's who I went to the fight with. I went to when Jermaine Taylor fought it was the Jermaine Taylor versus Bernard Hopkins fight, man. And I actually saw him fight in Little Rock too. They were there. Errol would be super legend if he did that. Yeah, man, I wouldn't mind if he did it, man. But you know, it is what it is. What did Will Stroker get deleted by, man? What'd he say? Oh, I said more than, phone Al. I mean, hey, man, you know, if y'all want him to call him out, say that. I want Errol Spence to call out Terence Crawford. Errol Spence, call out Terence Crawford. I got no issue with that. Call him out. I hope he does. Please, fight him. I want you to fight him. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that any day before Mikey Garcia. Got no problems with that, man. But look, let me get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody. Yeah, I probably will go live later. If not today, tomorrow for sure, man. I'm going to do it, man. But anyway, with that, I got to bounce, and I'm out. Peace. Oh, if you guys, by the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of the next time we do these live streams and we drop videos. And with that, peace to Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Big fan of both of them. And with that, I'm out.